G'day, guys, and welcome back to another episode on the podcast. For this episode, I wanted to go on a little bit about confidence because recently I've been getting like a lot of stuff in my feed about confidence and how people build it, and it's usually coming from like multimillionaires, public speakers, and people that are just like viral on social media and TikTok and all that stuff. But like I wanted to go and talk about how I personally, as I still see myself as just like a normal person, I just have a podcast, right? But how I've built my confidence from before that and going on to doing this kind of stuff, and how literally any other person can do the same thing that I did. So I guess like my own kind of definition for confidence is your own personal belief in your own abilities to achieve success, like in any given field, by knowing that you are who you say you are. And so, for me, when I was a lot younger, in terms of my confidence, it's like hard for me to say that I was like different to everyone, like any other kid in terms of their confidence, because everyone's around the same. I'll have that really, really shy kid at school who literally just does his work and doesn't really say anything else. And then you have your super loud and obnoxious mates who are just like always out there and really loud. And you see them as being really confident because of that. And you see the shy kid as being unconfident because of that. I felt like I was just kind of in like that middle area where I didn't really feel like I was overly confident. I didn't feel like I had no confidence whatsoever. And it was only really until the ages of like 13, 14 at school where my confidence wasn't really built around any of my personality traits, any like my humor or any of my hobbies or my interests or anything like that, or even success, because at that age, success for a 13 or 14-year-old isn't really too highly dependent on it for your friend groups, or even my intelligence wasn't really something that my confidence was built on. It was because I wasn't really educated on anything like I am now, but my confidence before I moved schools, so my first school from year 7 to year 9, my confidence was purely just based on my sporting ability, right? So my ability to play footy. So I put all of my sporting accolades and use that as like kind of my whole personality. And I see it like prominently in a lot of kids that I coach nowadays, especially younger kids. It's really easily manipulated to be their personality trait, to be, I guess, the jock, or just the kid who's really good at sports, and making that their whole personality. And this is in both in school and club levels, which I coach at. I guess the kids who are like athletically gifted, they seem more confident, especially when they're in that kind of scenario and in that environment. They are loud and really obnoxious, and most cases they tend to get pretty arrogant, especially the ones who are pretty successful athletically. And in all honesty, it really just makes them seem like, I can't call little kids dickheads, but it makes them seem like really shit blokes, like growing up to be shit people, because they purely base their whole personality around being good at a certain sport. And that's all they talk about. That's all you can talk to them about. And it just, over time, once they get older, it slowly starts to die off. Like their popularity in school and to other people dies off a lot because they realize that they have no substance whatsoever. And I used to be the same. That's why I know about this. I thought that I had authority because I was good at footy. I thought I could talk to people how I wanted because I was decent at footy for my young age, especially at my old school. But then once I moved, it was a huge reality check for me because I wasn't the best at footy at my new school. I moved to a private school, and there was a lot of boys there who were easily better than me, and it wasn't even close, like whatsoever. So from like an early age, around like 16, I had to really like rethink like what kind of image did I want to have for myself, because I can't be the kid that's the best at footy, because I'm literally not the best at footy at my new school. So from that early age, I really had to rethink who I am. Like, do I really just want to be this bloke who's just dedicated to one thing and you can only really talk to him about a certain thing, and that's your whole conversation style? Like, oh, how's footy going? Like, oh, who are you playing this week? And just having things related to that sport. So I had to rethink that and work on that. And I didn't want to just be the bloke who was just good at footy when he was 13 or 14 years old, and now he doesn't know what to do with himself, and he's just working a normal job, and that's all that he had to himself. I wanted to have a positive image of myself instead of having that. So the time that I made the call to myself to really work on my self-development was when I started around year 11, and I was pondering on starting the podcast. And at this time, my whole kind of like, I guess, image and personality within my like friend group was just being this completely overly obsessed health freak. So I was just like, it wasn't even really healthy. I was just like under eating a lot, so I seemed really fit. I was in shape for my age, and all my meals at school were the same. I ate the same way. It was literally just like ADHD and OCD. Not ADHD, it was just OCD about everything that I ate. Everything had to be the same. Wouldn't have a cheat meal. And this would go on for like months and months and months and months until I'd eventually start going out. Like, I would miss some parties because I couldn't be fucked, and also I didn't want to drink because I didn't want to, like, hinder my body. I didn't want to look, I didn't want to overconsume calories to look bad. And I just didn't really have a huge amount of substance to me. So there wasn't really much that I could relate to people about and people could relate to me about, and we would have common ground. I was always just like hyper obsessed with one or two specific things, being like footy and being like overly healthy. And so to kind of get out of that rut, I knew I had to build a resume. So like how I built my confidence is, like, I used to have very little substance. I didn't have much to me. My personality was pretty low. Like, I was just so obsessed with being healthy, and it was unhealthy how obsessed I was about trying to be a health freak. And I knew, because I wasn't like one of those people who, like I said before, like when they're young, they're loud, they're out there, they talk about everything. I wasn't one of those people who are able to talk about every little thing that went on in their mind. So I knew I had to build up my experiences and my ability to talk to people about anything, like, quickly. So firstly, I made it a really conscious effort to talk to every random person I possibly could. So, especially from a young age, it's so like important and powerful, and it's a really good tool to have. And at the start, I was so awkward and it was so hard for me to do. Even just small talk would work. Like, that helps build this personality trait and this skill to be able to talk to different people, because it just gets you talking. I remember I went to Europe in 2023 around August with my whole family, and it was midway through the trip. We were in Greece and we were there for a week and a half or 2 weeks. And Mum and I, we went down to the beach cabanas that were nearby where we were staying, and when I went down there, I saw these two like really good looking girls, and I was only like 17, but I think for being a 17-year-old, I looked older. I thought I looked 19, and I saw these two girls. I saw them one day, and then the next day, and then on the third day, I saw them there again, and I was literally like debating talking to them so much in my head, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm in a completely different country. Even if they don't speak English, it doesn't matter. So I thought about talking to them for literally like an hour or two, and I was getting into my own head about it. And then eventually, I just stood up and I like froze for like a solid minute or two. And Mum was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you standing there?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I sat back down, and then a couple minutes go by again, and I was like, "Mate, come on, just fucking get up there, have some balls." So eventually, I get up, I walk over, and I go into the water, and I just completely missed them. I just kept getting in my own head about it, and then I was in the water again, and I thought to myself, I was like, "Mate, seriously, like, you're gonna regret this for so long if you just don't talk to me, you walk by." So I'm getting out of the water, I'm going Baywatch style, I'm slow walking over to them, and then I get up to them, and then I'll just go like, "Oh, like, hey, how you going?" Like, I stuttered so bad, and I was like, "Look, I'm not from around here, if you couldn't tell, but I was wondering if there's like any places around here where you know that we can go out for my brothers and I. We want to go out somewhere." And I was surprised they actually spoke a lot of English. And they were telling me like, "Oh yeah, you can go to this place, this place." And I was like, "Oh, can you send it to me on Instagram?" And she goes, "Oh, I can show it to you on Safari." And I was like, "Oh, fuck." But then she tries to put it into my phone, like on the website, but then I didn't have my VPN. I didn't have my SIM card downloaded, so it just came with a blank screen, and it was just like this awkward, like, minute or two of us trying to reload the screen, and nothing was working. But then eventually, I just kept doing small talk. I was like, "Oh, you guys from here?" Because we were staying in Mykonos at the time, and I was like, "Oh, you guys from Mykonos as well?" And like, "No, we're from I can't remember if it was. I think they said they were from Athens. They were from Athens, and the names were Elna and Flair." And I was like, "Oh, thanks for the recommendation. Like, whatever. My name's Charlie." Introduced myself. I was talking to the mum a lot actually as well, but nothing was gonna happen there because she was taken, obviously. But like that there for that trip helped me build my confidence a lot, and it was so, like, I still get so like tight in the chest thinking about it because it was so awkward. And I remember like before I talked to them, I literally like I got so like it's hot in Greece, but I was like my chest was boiling, and it felt like my fucking heart was in my throat, like I could barely talk. I was like croaky. My voice was so like it sounded like there was sandpaper in there. Like it was just disgusting. But we like finish off the day, whatever. The next morning we go to the beach again. I see them there, and then I'm talking to Flair. Oh, I hate saying it with the accent, but that's how that's the only way you can pronounce it. I was talking to her, and she's literally small talk, and then I was like, "Oh, like, are you going out tonight?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay, we might see you out." And then I stupidly didn't ask for any socials or anything, so she just like never see her ever again in my entire life. Who knows? But it was that like little moment there that I literally will not ever forget because it was so like engraved in my memory because it was so awkward, and it was like a building block for me to build my confidence to talk to different people, even though I've never met them before. And I think nowadays, a lot of the time, like when we're talking to people on a night out, for example, and there's a guy talking to a girl, I think nowadays people get so caught up with their main aim when they go out and they talk to new people or talk to someone is to just like get with them straight away or grab their snap or their number. And I think we've lost like this pleasure of just talking to different people and making new mates. So like we always aim to talk to people of the opposite gender to like immediately get their validation that they like you. And maybe that's just because I'm thinking this due to a lot of my mates being females and I'm just used to being friendly with girls and I just keep getting friend zoned. But I'm just not like immediately intimate straight away. Like but I really infrequently flirt with girls I'm just meeting for the first time because like through my past experiences, if you don't get to know the person before you get with them, you usually regret it because you find out something about that person that you don't like. And that's happened to me plenty of times. I've like gone with a chick and then talked to them for a little bit, and then eventually I find out she's just like doesn't have much substance, or she's just like a shit human, basically. Like, she's not very nice to people, like her morals aren't very good. Like little things like that. So I think we've kind of lost I guess, the ability to talk to people, not to immediately get validated by them. And I think we just need to like, I do as well. I just need to have more conversations with random people about literally the most meaningless shit, because that's usually how you find your good mates. And also, by having this idea in your head that, like, no matter how attractive the person is that you're talking to, guy or girl, doesn't matter. If you talk to them just like they're everybody else, it makes it so much easier for you to go into that conversation having no fear whatsoever. Because you don't have this idea running through your head like, oh, they're too good looking, like I'm too scared to talk to them. Like no one actually gives a fuck. Like, I can almost guarantee you, every bloke, even if they're fucking like Marlon or they're Brad Pitt, they would just about have a conversation with every single guy or girl that comes up to them, because most of the time people are scared to talk to them because they're too good looking. And I think the same thing goes for girls. Secondly is what I've done to help build my confidence is like build up experiences and your resume. So like this quote from Alex Hormozy is, confidence isn't built by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by building undeniable evidence that you are who you say you are. And so like this, like go on a trip with your mates to their beach house, travel with your family, go with your mates to different places, go out all the time, get that fake ID, get with that random person, start that hobby, go on a health journey, or try something new, start that hobby. Like I said, that confidence is knowing you are who you say you are. And by knowing that you've lived a life to the fullest and done plenty of experiences and journeys, and you have things to talk about, it makes you confident in yourself that you're able to know these experiences and talk to people about them. So like my best example of this is my uncle. He has literally just about done every job that you can think of. He's traveled to so many countries. He's done different entrepreneurial businesses and different ventures like that. And the biggest thing about him is that he can literally talk to anyone about anything, like no matter what it is. And he can also just make everyone laugh, which is a plus side for him. And I know now that he's able to do this because he has built his resume. He's gone through so many different like adventures and journeys that he's able to talk to people about anything that he has done, and he's able to resonate with other people with different things that they've done. And he's able to talk about it, and he builds on conversations, asks questions about it. And he's like the perfect example of someone with confidence, because he doesn't really give a shit about what people think about him. So it's like I said before, try and build these experiences and do different things. Like when I went away to Europe, there's a lot of stories I can't tell, but there's a few that I can. You need to have these memories to be able to talk to people about, right? And when you build your resume and your experiences, you know that you've lived this and you're telling the truth, and you're able to talk to people about this. And people want stories. People want to listen to stories. That's what interests people the most. People don't give a fuck about how much money you make, or who you're dating, or what you had for brekkie. They want to hear about funny ass stories that you've experienced. And this all just builds into having conversations, because I think socially, having confidence in social situations is so fucking powerful. That's what confidence mainly is built upon, your social scenarios. And then I think confidence is so important because there's very, very few personality traits that can benefit everyone throughout everyone's lifetime, no matter what the scenario is. Whether it's a job interview, ordering food, or like talking to someone that you're interested in. Having confidence in yourself is always so important for these things. So I guess a question to ask yourself is, how do you think a confident person handles challenges? Do they shut down, or do they face it no matter what the outcome is going to be? Confident people go through scenarios and challenges and changes with no worry about what's going to happen, but with 100% intent of themselves. Confidence can help us through adversity, but it also helps people, helps shape how people perceive us, right? So with that, going for that job interview, or you got to talk to that girl or guy, they will look at all of your micro expressions straight away, and they will determine, shit, he is not confident whatsoever, or holy shit, he is really confident about this. Literally within the first few seconds of talking to you. So the harsh reality is that if you aren't confident of who you are, who you say you are, you likely won't get that job, and you likely won't be able to get that girl or guy that you're talking to. And then I was thinking, whilst I was making this script, like, do we lack confident people? And finding out now, it's absolutely. We definitely lack confident people nowadays. 85% of people globally lack confidence or suffer with self-esteem issues. 85% globally. Again, that is just people who have done this survey, but the point still stands. And it's hard to say if society as a whole encourages or discourages self-confidence, because there's like a lot of factors that contribute to a lack of confidence in people today. There's like a really big link between the rise of anxiety and self-doubt to the drop of confidence levels. But I think that people also don't know how to handle someone who is trying to build their confidence. And when we do come across someone who is confident, they get shut down straight away. This might not affect the person who is confident, because confidence built on self-belief, not on external ideologies, right? So they get shut down quickly, especially in Australia and also the UK. And from what I experienced in London, there is a huge tall poppy syndrome. And it's almost a culture at this point, because a lot of people hate seeing others do better than them. And I've said this a lot, like, people love to see you succeed until you start doing better than them. Then they begin to hate. And you'll hear a lot of successful people say, if you aren't being hated, then you're not doing well enough. So I think we're just so used to shutting people down when they're trying to better themselves, that it kind of forces us to have less confident people. People get confidence from shutting people down. And I think this comes a lot from social media. So when people post a lot, they tend to get a lot of hate comments, because a lot of people are jealous about their lifestyle, when in reality, their lifestyle probably isn't even that great. Like, let's be honest, a lot of people build their social media of the best stuff that's going on with them. And that's exactly what I've done. Like, my personal Instagram is the exact same thing. I think that overall, social media can be good and bad for people to build their confidence. Because in my own personal experience, posting on social media has massively helped my confidence, because I put myself out there, and like my struggles, what's going on well with me, and what's going shit. And I've let people into my life, basically. And that's kind of let me be confident of knowing that people know me for me, and I know who I am truly. So for me, it's done me a lot of good to build me a lot of confidence and make me confident in myself and my self-esteem. But it can also be really damaging. So a lot of the cases, people use it to exploit exploit their looks for their followers and their likes. They tend to build their ego and their arrogance instead of their confidence, because their value and their worth perceived online is based off their body and their looks, not their personality and what they've done and their experiences and what they want to do with their life and their morals and their objectives. They're just purely focused on how they look and how good they look. And that's how people judge them, which is bad. But a lot of the time when people keep posting like that, they don't make a change. And so I think if you are really trying to build your confidence, it's really important to just add some little habits in that work on your self-development. This can be reading to help you learn. This can be journaling to make you more reflective of yourself. This can literally just be you setting up your phone and talking to your phone for 2 minutes straight and looking back at it and seeing how you talk and your micro expressions, so you can see what people see when you talk to them, and then working on that. It can even be you cleaning up your diet, you being more healthy, going to the gym to improve on your physique, stopping or minimizing how much you play video games to get outside more often, talking to more random people. There's so many little things that you can do and put into your life that can help you build your confidence drastically. And a lot of the time when people go through these kind of things, you will get judged. Like, it's not an if or but, it's like an absolute. You will get judged if you work on improving yourself. Like, the amount of times that I've been judged for not drinking on a night out, or sleeping in because I've got to do something in the morning, I've got to go for a run, I've got to train, or I choose not to eat Macca's with all my mates being there because I have food at home and I don't want to eat like shit because it makes me feel like shit. It's fine to have Macca's every now and then, but it's also fine to not need to have Macca's. As long as you keep reminding yourself and you have good people around you that you want to stay on this path, and they help promote that, you will be completely fine. And so I think overall, I guess to build our confidence is to be more social. Like, I think that's the easiest way for people to build their confidence overall. Go out there, talk to different people, don't judge. Literally just, who gives a fuck who you're talking to? Because you can't judge someone if you haven't actually experienced a moment with them, right? So if your mates say you don't like that, if they don't like that person, then cool, but I can't make my judgments till I've actually, made or had some sort of conversation or experience with them. Then I can decide if I don't like them or I do like them. That brings us to the end of the episode. Hope you guys all enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you guys next week.